Good morning. Was goody team? Welcome to this week's weekly market breakdown. Still at my parents' house for the holidays, so I only got one monitor with me, so bear with me for the people in the chat. Um, I only have one monitor, so I won't be able to have the chat open at the same time as I'm doing the charts. But as always, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. Anything that's not making sense, feel free to let me know. Um, I'll be going through the pairs and I'll come back and forth from the chat to the charts just so we don't miss anything from the chat. So again, if you guys have any questions, just let me know. Gonna get ready till 9:35, so we'll get about another 5 minutes to join, and then we will get started. The pairs we're gonna be going over are the ones that you see on the right hand side with the red flag next to their name, starting off with AUDUSD, finishing off with USOIL. We will be going in order from the top to the bottom. I haven't updated my charts, I'm not gonna lie, probably like 2-3 weeks. So I'm gonna take the time today, update all my charts, update our daily time frame, daily highs, daily lows, see if we have any continuations on the daily time frame, do the same thing on the 4-hour, update our 4-hour highs, 4-hour lows if we need to, update our weekly outlook, how many continuations do we have for the weeks of rise or weeks of drops, and then do the same thing on the 30-minute time frame, update our 30-minute highs and 30-minute lows, as well as look for continuations on a day-to-day basis. So allergies have been killing me, bro. I got this sneeze just stuck in my nose. It's kind of crazy. Great rising, Albert. What's goody, my brother? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Man, I got back home at like 2 in the morning last night. Woke up at 6:30, and then I was not able to go back to sleep. So, think about it. I had my PC here at my parents' house for like what, maybe a week now, and I haven't even connected it. I just connected it. So, I'm tired. I got coffee with me though, so hopefully we'll feel a little bit better in the next couple minutes. But again, just gonna give everybody another 5 minutes to join. Once again, I only have one monitor with me, so I'm gonna be going back and forth from the charts to the chat. If you guys have any questions, once again, feel free to let me know. I'll try to do the best I can with what I have here. Year's almost over. We pretty much have the 29th and the 30th, right? Monday and Tuesday for the last trading days of the year. So let's try to get back in business for these last 2 days. My God. I'm gonna go blow my nose real quick before we get started, team. Give me 1 second. back. Alright team, once again, any questions, let me know. Anything you guys want me to go over, anything you guys want me to explain, let me know. Starting off with AUDUSD, and once again we're going to be going over every single pair you see on the right hand side with the red flag next to their name. So AUDUSD, we know we are in level 3 on a downtrend. Price gave us the second zone consolidation, the break of structure that started our level 3 push that gave us the lower low. And all we're looking for now is for price to give us a set lower high point to then start looking for the downtrends back to the lower low. So like we've been talking about for the last 4 months and a half, we had 2 points of interest as to where this lower high was going to be set. Our first point of interest is the 800 EMA, and our second point of interest is once price fills this gap at the top of the market, which is on the 30-minute time frame. Right? Once price, and I'll reiterate this, and again, if you guys need me to explain this, just let me know. Once price back in May started pretty much giving us this little small zone consolidation and then give us a little breakout to the top side of the 800 and came back down to the same area, we already knew we were in a little zone of consolidation. So there was a lot of people kind of asking this question, which was, well, how did you know that this wasn't going to be the set lower high for price to continue down into the lower lows and just continue the downtrend? Right? It's very simple. You guys got to remember, the easiest, I will say this, the easiest thing to see in the market is when they give you a zone of consolidation. Why? We know that a zone of consolidation, yeah, we know the definition. We know it's an area in the market where the market makers are trapping traders, inducing traders to get into a trade to hit their stop losses, right? But we also understand that the behavior of a zone of consolidation, price needs to break the zones of consolidation, whether it's the top. If price breaks the top of the zone of consolidation, you know it's going to continue to uptrend. If price breaks the bottom of the zone of consolidation, you know it's going to continue the downtrend. Right? So on the daily time frame, I already knew. Right? And again, this is just my example on the daily time frame. Just looking at it from the bigger picture. On the daily time frame, we understood that before we could consider this a lower high, and before we could consider to start taking trades on AUDUSD, we needed to see price break these lows. And if we zoom in, what happened? Every single time price came to these lows, exhaustion candle inducement back to the top. Inducement of the low back to the top. Inducement of the low, exhaustion candles back to the top. Inducement of the low, and exhaustion candles back to the top. Right? So, sorry, I have to sneeze. Just give me 1 second. My bad. So once we saw that price on the daily time frame, right? Let me go back to the chat, make sure we're good. Right, no questions so far. Let me know, guys. Once we saw that price just kept inducing these lows, we knew it wasn't ready to be traded. Now, on a lower time frame, right? Once we go to the 4 hour, let me delete this here. Once we go to the 4 hour, once we go to the 30-minute, we'll have some other information there that we have drawn out on our screen. All right, why isn't this? Let me add a few lines here real quick. So right now on the daily time frame, no continuations. We don't have to update our daily highs or daily lows. Right now on the daily time frame, we're just still waiting. We can see that price is coming back up to our point of interest where we're expecting price to give us that lower high point, which again is when price fills this 30-minute gap at the top of the market. And then this is where we'll start looking for those reversals to go back down to the bottom. On the 4 hour time frame, let's take a look. For last week, we had a week of drop, or the week before last, we had a week of drop, and then this week, price gave us a week of counter rise, so no continuations. Still seeing higher highs and higher lows. On the 4 hour time frame, we had higher high, higher low, higher high. Price gave us the break up here, so now we're trading between these higher lows down here. And these higher highs up here, they're not set just yet, but I'm gonna mark it just to keep my charts updated for the new week. This is the area that we're trading in. So once we go down to the 4 hour, and once again we go back down to the bottom of the zone of consolidation, right? The week that we were back at these lows where everybody thought that price was just going to continue the downtrend push, what did price give us? Right? So on top of the fact that on the daily time frame we're at the bottom of the zone of consolidation and price hasn't given us a break, the market also gave us a little shoulder head shoulder pattern. In order for this to be a valid downtrend shoulder head shoulder pattern, you need to see price give you a break of the shoulder. All price did was came back, it gave you the inducement. Again, none of these candles were break of structures, these were just inducement candles. Price also gave you 3 exhaustion candles. That's already 2 confirmations that price is just going to continue to push back to the top side. And as soon as we had those 3 candles, as soon as we had the inducements, what did price do? It went back to the top. Right, so right now this is just a game of being patient. And we've been talking about this for, again, the last 4.5 months, 5 months, where AUDUSD, I'm just going to be super patient. As soon as we get the confirmation that price gave us that lower high, and as soon as price starts giving us lower lows and lower highs, that gives us the confirmation that the downtrend has started, that's when I'm going to start getting into these trades. So, price is getting to exactly where we needed to get to. We had higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, change of character. Then price gave us a higher high, change of character back to the top side. So let's go ahead and add this. Once again, guys, any questions, just let me know in the chat. If you need me to slow down, if you need me to say something again, explain something, just let me know, guys. And for the people watching the recording as well, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. You can message me in Discord. You could leave the questions in the comment section. Hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, wherever you feel comfortable at. Give me 1 second, team. Let me look at the chat real quick. You guys good so far? Okay. Let me open up Discord as well on my phone. Give me 1 second just in case we got people in there. Alright, my bad. Right, so right now on the 30-minute time frame, we know that we're trading between higher high, higher low, and these higher highs over here. And we know that we had a day of rise, 2 days of rise on the third day. Price gave us that third day push to the top side. And then today, well, Friday, sorry, I'm lost. Friday, price ended up on a no net. Right, after 3 days of rise, the market must move sideways or go down. That's exactly what the market did. Right, we moved sideways. Any questions, let me know. Give me 1 minute before I go to the next pair. Alright, hold on, let me check Discord one more time. Make sure nobody has any. Alright, so AUD USD, we know we're looking for those gaps to be filled. Once those gaps are filled, we'll start taking those trades. AUD CAD, we're in the first zone of consolidation on a downtrend. We're still in the middle of the zone of consolidation. So I already know that AUD CAD for me right now is not going to be a pair that I'm going to be trading. As we zoom in on the daily time frame as well, we're in a smaller zone of consolidation. Once we go to the 4 hour, we can see that this is where price has just been rejecting highs and rejecting lows the entire time for the past 2-3 months. When we're looking for our continuations, we have a week of drop. Then we have a second week of drop as well here. And then price gave us a week of rise last week. Still have this engulfing candle at the top of the zone of consolidation that we're going to keep an eye on. Add a few lines here real quick. On a 30-minute time frame, we had lower low, lower high, lower low, change of character, higher high, where price came all the way up, gave us higher high, higher low, higher high. So we know that we're trading between this higher low over here and these higher highs over here. We had a day of rise. Price gave us 2 days of rise. Price gave us a 3rd day of rise and gave us a rise no net. Well, this is moving counter, so this is not a rise no net. This is just a no net. And then price gave us a no net on Friday as well. AUD CAD, just going to be waiting it out. Once we start trending, I'll be a little bit more focused on that pair. For Euro AUD, we are in level 3 on an uptrend, looking for price to reach our previous peak highs at these highs over here. Once price gave us that 3rd push to the top side, what did price start doing? Just move sideways, just consolidating. So again, this is another pair very similar to the other ones. You guys could see that a lot of these pairs have been acting pretty much very, very similarly. Now, is that a bad thing? No. Right, again, we understand that we have different market conditions for different times in the market. And right now, the market condition that we're in is consolidation. So these are the times where trading is going to be very minimal. It's going to be very slow. And you have to be very methodical about how it is that you're entering the markets and where, right? And also how you're exiting. That's why you guys see I'm very detailed. When I mark up my charts, I'm very detailed. I'm always figuring out and trying to see where exactly it is that we're at and what moves could we be anticipating for the market to make. On the 30-minute time frame, we had the change of character lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. For right now, we're going to mark this as the lower high over here. Then we have 2 days of drop, 3 days of drop, and then Friday gave us another day of drop. I'm not going to mark the lows just yet. We're just going to keep this here. We don't have no set lows just yet. And we'll come back to EA once we start making higher highs and higher lows. Looks like price wants to go back down to the bottom of the zone of consolidation. If we get an inducement of the low the same way that we did here, the same way we did here, right, the same way that before we did here, here, and here, and the same way that we did down here, then we know price is just going to come back up every single time. So we'll wait it out. No rush. We'll go look for another pair that looks a little bit better and then go on from there. Again, guys, any questions, let me know. My charts on AUD CAD is a wide 30-minute high and low. My charts on AUD CAD is wide, let's see. So on the 30-minute time frame, Your 30-minute high and low are supposed to be here, right? And let's just go back so we can see why. Right, so we had higher high, higher low, higher high, then price gave you lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Then price gave us a change of character, higher high, all the way up here, then gave us higher low, then gave us higher high. Right, so at one point we did have a very wide 30-minute zone. Let's change this to red. Right, we had lower low, or I'm sorry, we had higher high, higher low. Right, then price gave us higher high, then price gave us lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Then price gave us the change of character, higher high, higher low, higher high. So we know that we're trading between this 30-minute high and this 30-minute low. Let me know if that made sense, Albert. Please walk me through from the 8th of September till date. Yep, let me know if that made sense. 8th of September is crazy, but I got you. Alright, so we had higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Right, this is already September 11th. Then price gave us the change of character, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Then price gave us higher high, higher low, higher high. Then price gave us lower low. Then price gave us higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Then price gave us lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Then price gave us lower high here, lower low, and then price came up, right? Never broke these lows. It broke these highs over here where it gave us a change of character, right? And it gave us from this lower low all the way to the top to this high. Right? This is all one move. This was all one trend. Right? So we know that we're trading between this low and this high. Then price just moved sideways the entire time. Price never broke these highs. Price never broke these lows. We're just moving sideways, 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 sideways. Up until where? Until price gave us this lower low down here. Right, so now we know that we're trading between this high up here and this low. Same thing. Price came up, boom, 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 and it came all the way up to over here. Right, all the way up. This is why it was good to go back. The first time I drew it out was wrong. So good call on me going back to September. Right? Where did price give us the break? It gave us the break here. Boom. Higher high, higher low, higher high. Then price came down and gave you lower low, lower high. Then price gave us lower low, lower high. Then price gave us lower low, lower high, lower low. And then price gave us where we're at now, which is the change of character, higher high, higher low, and then higher high up here. Let me know if that made sense, Albert. I'll give you 2 minutes in the chat, Albert. Let me know if that made sense. We'll open up the chat. Makes sense. Check your Discord. I got you. Let me open it up on my phone. Please check this trade. I didn't take it, but I applied Eric's entry on this. 3 pushes to the bottom, double bottom. Bounce out the 50 mate, not the best though. Entry was on the 5-minute time frame, so it's supposed to look like this. Yep. And then you said you took a trade. This was on December 17th. Let's take a look. You took the trade on the 15th of December, it looks like. Or no, you took the trade on the 16th of December. Which was, what time frame is this on? So it was here. And then am I looking at the wrong chart? AUDCAD, is this AUDCAD? This is EUROCAD. Did you say AUDCAD or EUROCAD? Oh, the screenshot you sent me was EUROCAD, but you were talking to me about AUDCAD. Okay, hold on. So let me go to EUROCAD real quick. Have I done EUROCAD yet? Did I do the breakdown on EUROCAD, or was I just about to do it? I haven't done the breakdown on EUROCAD yet. Alright, I'll check your EUROCAD trade now when I get to that pair. Do we do EA? Alright, EA, we said we were in level 3. Alright, let me know if what made sense with AUDCAD. Right, let me know if that made sense so far. And then we'll do EUROCAD. Once I get to it, I'll check your EUROCAD trade. Let me know if you're good with AUDCAD, so I'll move on to the next pair. Euro AUD, we did that. We don't have to update our 4-hour daily highs or lows, no continuations. And on the 30-minute, alright, yeah, so we did Euro AUD, so EUROCAD is next. And then we'll go over this one, and then we'll go over the entry that you took. AUDCAD is good with you? Alright, cool. Alright, so EUROCAD, we know that we are in level 3 on an uptrend, right? EUROCAD is a pair right now that, technically speaking, we are in previous peak highs, So this is a pair for me that I'm treading very lightly with. Still trading it if there's continuations or something that looks very good. But right now we know we're in previous PCADs. We're at the highest point from the previous trend, right? The previous downtrend that started the uptrend. On the uptrend we had level 1, first zone of consolidation, level 2, second zone of consolidation that pushed into level 3 that went into the previous PCADs. So technically speaking, right now in EURCAD, we are still on an uptrend. Let me delete some of these drawings. There's way too much on the screen. And let me add a few lines here for the month and for the full hour real quick. No continuations on the daily. On the 4 hour, we're still trading lower low, lower high, lower low. Price gave us a week of rise, then it gave us a week of no net, just moving sideways. Add a few lines here for the week as well. Then we have a week of drop. And then on the 30-minute time frame, we are still trading lower low, lower high, lower low, where price still hasn't given us a break of the low. It hasn't given us a break of the highs just yet. We had 2 days of no net, just 2 days where price was moving sideways. Then it gave us a day of drop, gave us 2 days of drop, and then price gave us, this could still be a no net. I'm not going to update this just yet. It gave us that 3rd day push, but we are very close. We're 6 pips. If price opens up with a gap or anything, it could still give us a no net, so we'll be patient with that. And then you said you took a trade on the 5-minute time frame. The day was the 16th. So somewhere here, let me pull up the screenshot one more time. Give me 1 second. So you took a trade on the 16th somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. I'm very bad when it comes to looking at charts for some reason on the... Okay, so this was the day after, this was the day before. So you took this trade here going back to the top side. So let me just mark this day here. Right, that's the trade that you took. Let's look at it on the 30-minute. So ideally, right, just off the bat, if you notice, you took the trade here on the 16th. I took the trade here on the 12th. So the week before, right? You took the trade on a Tuesday. I took this trade on Friday. Is it a bad trade, right? We could go back and forth on it. And again, the reason why is, again, is just more looking at the trend, right? So we know that we were trading lower low, lower high, lower low. Right, I'm also putting into account the 800 EMA. Where was the 800 EMA? Right here. Right? We know that price respects the 800 EMA. Now, if you notice it, either way, just looking at your numbers, obviously I can't go back and see what the ADR was for this day, but I'm assuming that you calculated it the right way and you use STP, and STP was hit. Right, when it comes to this trade that you took, STP was hit. Now, I don't know, I have 50 here. I don't know when the last time was that I updated the STP for this pair. But if, let's just put it for an example, if STP was 50 pips and you would have taken this trade, STP was never hit. Right, and just based off the fact that STP was never hit, if you would have taken this trade and you wouldn't have cashed out, it would have reversed. right? And price would have either went back to break even, or it would have went into your stop loss, whatever the case is, right? The reason why I wasn't looking to take any more trades after this is for the two reasons, right? Number one reason, we're back at a lower high point, right? We took the trade from the lower low back up into the lower high. The second reason is the 800 EMA, right? Taking any trade before price gives you a valid break above the 800 and starts trending above the 800 is very low probability for the exact same reason that we see now. The fact that price never broke above the 800 and started trending above the 800, what did price do for the next days after? It just went right back to the bottom. All the way back to the bottom. Now, just based on, you took the trade on the 5-minute time frame. So let's just go to the 5-minute time frame real quick. On the 5-minute, we had lower low, lower high, lower low, change of character, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low. Then we had change of character, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Then price gave us a lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Right, so we had the low, lower high, lower low, higher high, change of character, higher low. Then we had a higher high here that gave us the break, and the break happened here. So you have it marked as, see if you have the same thing. You have it marked as, right, you have this marked as higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? And then this is where price gave you the break. Where in reality, again, you had higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, change of character, higher low. And this is where price gave you the break of structure on the 5-minute time frame that gave you the higher high. Right, then price gave you a higher low, higher high again, inducement, and this is where price started turning around, right? Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So for me personally, again, I wouldn't have taken this trade just based off the fact that we are trading at a lower high and we're trading at the 800 EMA. And then again, looking at the 5-minute time frame, right, the way that you have it marked is not the correct way, right? Because you have it marked as over here, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And again, even though that trade idea worked out, you need to make sure that you have your 5-minute structure. You need to make sure that it's pristine. You need to make sure that you have it marked up the correct way. Because that one little mistake, right, that one little mistake is going to cost you a lot of money. But again, at the end of the day, the trade worked out. But it's not really about whether or not the trade worked out, it's whether or not you marked it up correctly. Because again, if this happens again, and let's say that you mark it up incorrectly, what are the odds that you're going to win that trade? You get what I'm saying? So it's just really that, right? Is the fact that again, we're trading lower low, lower high, lower low, and price gave us a push to the top side, gave us a lower high, and we can see that price now wants to go back down to the bottom. We're still on a little downtrend. Let me know if that made sense. Let me know if that made sense, Albert. I'll give you a minute in the chat. Let me know if that made sense, Albert. Take a sip of my coffee. How do I open up the curtains of these windows, man? Get some sunlight in here. I marked it up like how Eric does in the 5 minute time frame till December was on lower low, then higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low, higher high, change of character, higher low, higher. Got you. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if if you did a class with him. I don't know if again the on the 5 minute time frame. Let's mark it up. Right on the 5 minute time frame. Let's start from here. Right on the 5 minute time frame, you had. And let's zoom in here so we can see all the candles, and we'll take our time with this one. Right on the 5 minute time frame, you had lower low, you had lower high, right? Then you had lower low down here. Then you had higher high, higher low, right? Then you had higher high up here. Come on, why is this not? Right, and then you had lower low that happened here. Then you had lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? All of this was lower lows. All of this is part of the same trend. Then you had the higher high change of character that happened here. Right? Then you had the higher low that was down here. Then you have the higher high change of character that happened here. Then we have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Then you had all of this part of the same trend. As you can see, price continued higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? All the way up until here, right? Then you had from this higher high, we broke these lows over here that price gave us lower low, lower high, lower low, right? Then you had the change of character again, higher high up here. Price never broke these lows. Price came up, gave you higher high, higher low. Then it gave you higher high, right? Once price gave you this higher high, it gave you this higher low down here, because again, price never broke these lows. Price broke these highs over here. Gave you higher high, higher low, higher high. Then price gave you lower low, lower high, lower low. Then price gave you again another change of character, higher high. And price never broke these highs and never broke these lows until here. So price then gave you a lower low change of character down here. Right? And then this is where price gave you a lower high here, then gave you the lower low here. Right? And then this is where we can see where we're at now, where we had lower low, lower high, lower low, change of character, higher high. Then price came back down and gave you another change of character, lower low. So again, 5-minute structure. There again, I don't know. Let me open up the chat just in case. Right? I don't know if once again you did a class with E or if he did a session that I'm not aware of from this month. But this is how the 5-minute structure should be marked up on your chart. There's no other way. Once again, market structure is market structure. Higher highs and higher lows, lower lows and lower highs. It shouldn't look different from my chart to each chart. It shouldn't look different from anybody else's chart online. Because market structure is always going to be the same. Because all you're looking for is the lower low, lower high points and higher highs and higher low points. Does that make sense? So when you're looking at the 5-minute structure where price gave you the change in the break, realistically speaking, again, we had the change of character, which was on Friday on the 12th, higher low, and then we had the break of structure, but that break of structure happened on the day that you took the trade, but it happened already at the top of the day. It happened at the high of the day, right? Where we knew already that on the 5-minute time frame, this break of structure that happened here is low probability. On the 5-minute time frame is just an inducement, because again, on the 30-minute time frame, that's where we were at on the 800 EMA. And we know that price respects the 800 EMA. And what happened? Price, as soon as it gave you that 5-minute break, again, which on the 30-minute was just an inducement of the 800 EMA, price went all the way back down. Let me know if that made sense, Albert. But again, the way E marks this chart, again, I learned from E. You guys got to remember that. I see that every single time. Remember, I learned from E. All the information that E has, all the way he marks this chart is the same exact way I mark my chart. So there shouldn't be any difference. There isn't any difference on my chart compared to E's charts, or vice versa. Right? There's smaller details that I'll have that E doesn't have, which is, for example, again, the only difference on my chart that I have that he doesn't have is the engulfing candles. That's the only difference. Because again, I didn't learn that from E. That was something that I came up with, that I started seeing on the charts 2-3 years ago now. So that's something that's completely, that's one of the only differences on our charts. I apply your structure in the daily 4 and 30. You know he can go from higher low than lower low. I was watching his old videos from the last 2 years. Gotcha. Yeah, like I said, there's no difference in market structure. On the every time frame when it comes to market structure is gonna look the same. Right? The way that E marks up his daily 4-hour, 30-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute is the exact same way that I mark up my daily 4-hour, 30-minute, 5-minute, 1-minute. Is the exact same thing. There is no difference. We look for the same thing. Double bottoms, double tops, triple bottoms, inducements of the lows, right? Looking for those entries. They're all the exact same. That's what again, this is what I always, this entire year, that's been one of the things that a lot of people have come into the chat. That's something that I've always said, and we've reiterated it. That's why you see that some sessions he'll do it, and I'll tell him to do a session, especially in the beginning of the year. I'm like, yo, just do a session real quick so people can see that it's the exact same thing that we're doing. And it is. So again, like, you know, you say that that's the way that E, like, I mark it the way E marks it. There's no way. Because again, if E were to pull up his chart right now, I guarantee you that this is exactly the same way he will have it. Is the exact same way. Especially with the fact that we have the 800 EMA here. Right? So, again, you just need to make sure that your 5-minute time frame chart, you just got to make sure that when you go onto the lower time frame does a lot more candlesticks, right? In order to not get induced into a trade, you need to make sure that you have your market structure marked up picture perfect. Because again, one mistake is going to cost you a lot of money, right? Especially in this area where you have this marked as a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, when again, realistically speaking, how could this here that you have marked as higher high, higher low, how could this be higher high, higher low if before this we were trading between this low and this high? You see what I'm saying? So anything that happened here, this lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, is not correct. Because in order for this to be a higher high, higher low, you needed to see price break either these lows or these highs. And price never did that. Price here never broke the lows or the highs until where? Until up here. Right? Technically here, this is the inducement. But when we're looking at a valid BOS, and this is on the 30-minute, but when you're looking at a valid BOS, it didn't really happen till up here. You see what I'm saying? So it just looks like you're getting trapped into the internal noise that the market is printing. Because again, there is no way that you have this marked here, again, like I said, as a higher high, higher low, when price never broke these highs or these lows previous to this move that was down here. You get what I'm saying? Let me know if that made sense, Albert. And again, that's the reason why I took this trade here instead of these trades down here, right? Because again, this trade down here was the most simplest trade. Price gave us an inducement, or price gave us a pullback, right? On the pullback, this trade was on the 1-minute time frame. On the 1-minute time frame, we had a little change break. We had the exhaustion candles, which is really what I saw. On top of the fact that we had the exhaustion candles as well. Let me delete some of these things here. Right, on top of the exhaustion candles that we had, what else did we have? We had an engulfing candle, right? Green, green, red. Price gave us the retest of the engulfing candle. Stop loss below the engulfing candle at 5 pips. 5 pips stop with a 38 pip TP. Right? And then not only that, you know, what else do we have? We have a zone of consolidation throughout Asia session. Gave us a break below, and it gave us a type 1 pattern. Where again, the type 1 pattern is when price consolidates, gives you a break below, gives you the inducement, and then gives you the push to the top side. That's exactly what we have here. So this trade for me was the most picture perfect trade because we were following the 5-minute structure, we were following the 1-minute structure, we were following the 30-minute structure, we had 30-minute engulfing candle. Now for these trades up here, okay, we already know that we're back at the highs where price has just been inducing these highs and going back to the bottom. We have the 800 EMA. We know that price respects the 800 EMA, right? So why would I take a trade at the top of the zone that price has already tapped into before and given us inducements, on top of the fact that we're at the highs where the 800 EMA is at as well? You see what I'm saying? Let me see. Check your messages. I got you. You're back on AUDCAD though? Right, so you have, for example, I'll draw it out here. Right, you have, I'm gonna draw exactly what you have here. You have higher high, higher low, higher high, and you have lower low, or I'm sorry, higher low, lower high, lower low, lower high, Then you have like this. Then you have this, this, and this. Right? When I'm looking at market structure, this is why you always see me using those 30-minute lines and 5-minute lines, right? You had, boom, higher high, and you're trading between here and here, right? I'm not marking this as higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. No. I'm marking this as higher high, higher low, higher high. Then price give you a lower low change of character. So now we're trading between these lows and these highs, and then you have a change of character higher high, right? So I'm not marking this as, I'm marking this like this: higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, and then higher high. This is all I'm marking from the exact same drawing that you just sent me. Instead of marking this up as higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? Then you have lower high, then you have lower low, then you have lower high, then you have lower low, then you have higher high, then you have higher low, to then higher high, right? I'm not marking it this way because, again, the exact same reason that we just saw now. We don't even have, again, we could just go back to this, right? For the exact same reason that happened here, because, again, if you're marking this up as higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right, and you continue to hold this trade, and again, I'm just using STP at 50 for an example, right? I don't know what STP was for this day, but let's say you took this trade and you held for STP. Your STP would have never been hit because all price did was 45 pips, because you're not trading with the trend. Now, if for whatever reason you're trading counter trends, right, and you see that you have the inducement to the high, you have the 800 EMA on the 30-minute time frame, and you saw that price started giving you lower low, lower high, and it started turning around, and you go for those 50 pips, which was STP, right? STP would have been hit, and it gave you a little bit more. It gave you 68 pips, 69 pips for the day, right? That was the move for the day. That's the trend for the day, right? So I don't mark up my charts like this. I don't, because it doesn't make any sense. Because, again, in order for price to have a higher high, higher low, right, what does price need to do? What's the behavior of market structure? Previous highs or previous lows need to be broken, right? If price is giving you lower low, lower high, lower low, and then price starts doing this, right? Just for an example, right? Are you gonna mark this up as lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, higher? You can't, because, again, price did this. Boom. It gave you higher high, and it gave you, or I'm sorry, it gave you a lower high, and it gave you a lower low, right? Everything that happened between this high and this low, you can't go from lower low, lower high, lower low to all of a sudden lower high, higher low, higher high without price giving you a break of the previous structure. Price never broke the highs, and price never broke the lows, right? So everything that was happening in between that high and this low is just the market makers giving you an inducement. That's what a zone of consolidation is. That is the behavior of a zone of consolidation. And this is why you don't really see us trading in these areas, because it's just the market makers trying to confuse traders, right? All the traders who are marking it the exact same way that you did here, right, in this example up here, all the traders who are marking up their charts like this, what do you think the market makers are doing? They're just trapping you. They're making you believe that this is going to be where price, oh, look, we have lower low, lower low, lower low. We're going to continue to go down, and then what happens? Price goes up and hits your stop loss and turns back around, right? So all of this that's inside of the previous highs and lows is just noise in the market for the market makers to induce you to get into a trade. That's all that is. But he does that? Yo, but he doesn't though. Like, man, this is why I told him don't do this on the streams. Because there's different entry, there's, how do I explain this? He does it that way. I'll give you an example. The times that he marks up his charts like this, right, is if, and I'll mark it up again. I'll use the same drawing here. Let's say that he does it. The only time you will see him do something like this is if price, let's say for these lows, let's say these lows would have given you an inducement of these lows. It wasn't a break, it was just an inducement, right? Whether the inducement was a wick or an exhaustion candle, then you would go down into the 1 minute time frame, right? Depending on the pair, whether the 1 minute or the 5 minute. After the inducement is when you would go down into the lower time frame to then go ahead and mark up the internal moves, right? Because after an inducement is when you will be looking for price to give you that reversal to then continue, right? So for example, what do I mean by the inducement? If price, pretty much very similar to the trade that I took, right? But let's use your example here. If these lows here would have gone down to these lows, and let's say it would have just done an inducement, right? Either a wick or an exhaustion candle, then after the inducement of the low is when you would do that. Is when you would perfect example. Let's use these lows, right? Because we saw that these lows go here, right? As soon as price went to these lows down here, and it gave you an inducement of the lows, right? This is where you would go down to the 1 minute or the 5 minute time frame and then start looking for change of character, break of structure, right? To then take the trade back to the top side. You see the difference here? Up here, you didn't have that. Up here, this was just a continuation of the trend that has already started moving. But we understand that the end of that trend was up here. So that's the biggest key. And again, this is the exact same reason why I told them do not go over this, because it's a little bit too advanced. Because again, this is that one minor detail where again, the only time you would want to look for those internal moves is if price gives you an inducement of the previous structure. Again, if price gave you an inducement of the low and then started giving you those internal moves, that's the only time that I would ever mark up my charts like this, but it would only be again on the 1 minute or the 5 minute time frame after the inducement of the lows that were created. But on a regular market basis, right, on a regular market basis, I'm not going to mark this up as lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, lower low, higher high, lower low. There's no trend here, right? All of this is just an inducement. It's just to trap traders, and we see it here, right? Making you believe that price is going to continue the downtrend, and then make you believe that price is going to continue the uptrend, and then make you believe that price is going to turn around and start the downtrend again, and make you believe that price is going to go up again here. But what is it? It's just the market makers trapping traders to hunt for their stop losses to then start the move. You see what I'm saying? That's the one key that you're probably missing from how he's explaining and what he's looking at. And again, is a very big reason why I keep telling you guys every single stream. If you're not comfortable yet on the 30 minute, on the daily, on the 4 hour time frame, you have no reason to go down to the 5 minute or the 1 minute, because you're going to start marking up every single move on the 5 minute and the 1 minute, and it's going to be very difficult to be able to look for that trend. Let me know if that made sense, Albert. I'll try to explain it again if it doesn't make sense. So again, there's a time and a place to use that structure. But that structure could only be used after the inducements were made. Right? Because once you have an inducement, once you have a fake break of structure, you know that that's where you go into the 5-minute or the 1-minute time frame to look for the reversal. If you don't have an inducement of the low or an inducement of the high, you can't look for those internal reversals. Let me know if that made sense. It makes sense? Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that you're missing from what you have marked up on your chart. Again, it's not the wrong way to see it. It's not the wrong way. It's just that one missing piece, which is, again, if price would have given us, once again, if price would have given us this inducement to the low here, and then it would have given us this move that you see here, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, then it would have been a completely different story. Then we know that we could 100% take this trade here that you took here to continue that uptrend push into STP. And again, I don't know what STP was for this day, but so for the sake of the conversation, let's say that STP was 50 pips. If you would have taken this trade and you would have had your TP at 50 pips, it wouldn't have hit your TP and it would have went straight into either stop loss or back into your break even. Right, that's the only time that you will ever see me mark up higher highs and higher lows on the lower time frame. The way that you have it marked there, the way that you see E mark it up, and we've seen it all the time. You know, a lot of the trades that we took this year were those type of trades, right? A lot of the trades that we took this year was on the 1-minute, 5-minute time frame after an inducement was made. But that's the only time you will see me mark up my charts like that or take a trade like that, is if price if price gives you the inducement and then gives you those internal moves on the lower time frames. Is the only times that you will see us mark up our charts that way. But if the inducement doesn't happen, you can't mark up. If price is giving you higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, how can a lower low, lower high happen before a break? It doesn't make sense, right? That's just part of the pullback. In order for price to go from higher high into higher low, right? In order for price to give you higher high, higher low, higher high, in order for price to give you a higher low, right? What is price doing on the internal time frame? Imagine this is the 30-minute, right? The purple line is a 30-minute time frame, right? On the 5-minute time frame, 1-minute time frame, price is going to give you lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, because price is going down, is on a downtrend. And then when price gives you a higher high, or I'm sorry, when price gives you a higher low on the 30-minute time frame, and it goes from a higher low into a higher high, what is price doing on the 1-minute, 5-minute time frame? It's giving you higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows, higher highs and higher lows. And once price goes into a higher high and goes back down into a higher low, what is price doing on the 1-minute, 5-minute time frame? It's giving you lower lows and lower highs, right? So that's how you would use that 5-minute, 1-minute time frame structure when you're also looking at the 30-minute to look for those entries, to look for the reversal points, or to look for the continuation patterns that you're looking for. But without the inducement, if you don't have an inducement, you can't look for those internal moves, because we know that those internal moves before the inducement is just a pullback. It's just price giving you the pullbacks from the market. Let me know if you have any other questions, Albert, about any other trade or any other pair that you have marked up. Let me know. I'll give you another minute in the chat. If not, we're gonna speed it up, and I'll try to finish before 11 in the morning, so we'll have another 15 minutes or so. We should be done pretty quickly, though. Let me know if you have any other questions, Albert. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna try to get through this quick, because this coffee is going straight through me, man. That's why I don't like drinking coffee. But again, Albert, just let me know if you have any other questions. I'll stay in the chat till, I'll give you till 10:51. I'll give you another minute, and then I'll speed it up with the other charts, so we'll be done here quick. Check your DM, then speed it up after. Okay, I got you. Please check if I'm correct with this chart. This is EURCAD. For EURCAD, this is what, the 30-minute time frame. This is the 30-minute. On the 30-minute time frame, the 30-minute time frame is supposed to look like this. So you have the lower low down here and the lower high up here. Right, so we know that 30-minute is these lows down here that price is currently at, and the highs are these highs up here. You have it as this high over here. Right, where again you can see where over here we had higher high, higher low, higher high, then price gave us a lower low down here. Price never broke these highs, price broke these lows down here, right? Gave you a little inducement, so it gave you a little lower low, right? And then price gave you lower high, lower low. So you're supposed to have your 30-minute high is this high up here, right? Instead of this one that you have up here, right? So it's going to be lower low, lower high, lower low. Everything else you have there looks good. Let me know if that made sense, and then we'll go on to the other charts. Thank you, bro. No problem, my brother. So Euro USD, we are in level 2. We're on an uptrend still. We're still sitting at a higher high. We're still trading between the same daily lows and daily highs. No continuations to mark up here. On the 4-hour time frame, we had 3 weeks of rise. Then price gave us a week of drop. After 3 weeks of rise, the market must go sideways or move down, and we ended up moving down. And then price gave us a week of rise. Still trading between the same 4-hour low and 4-hour high as well. And then on the 30-minute time frame, we have low, lower high, lower low inducement. Then price gave us higher high, higher low, higher high, and then price gave us a lower low change of character here. So we're trading between these lows down here on the 30-minute time frame and these highs up here. Right, and then we have a day of no net. Then we have a day of rise. Then we had 2 days of rise, and then on the third day gave us a rise drop. And then price gave us a day of no net. For GA, we are in peak high territory, so I'm not going to mark this one up. I'm not trading this one for now. So I'm just going to keep this updated, and we'll skip it and go on to the next pair. Then we're trading now between this 30-minute high up here and these 30-minute lows. We still don't have a set low just yet. And then we had a day of no net. We have a day of drop. We have 2 days of drop. We have 3 days of drop. And then we have, could still be a no net. We'll leave that up for when the market's open. For GCAD, we are in level 3, still in a zone of consolidation. Nothing to update on the daily or the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, we're still in a zone of consolidation, just moving sideways. We had a week of rise, and we have a week of no net. 30-minute time frame. 30-minute time frame, nothing to update just yet. We're still in the zone of consolidation on the 30-minute time frame as well. Still hasn't broken our 30-minute highs or lows. Price is just moving sideways. Where we had a day of rise, 2 days of rise. Third day gave us a rise no net. And then it gave us a day of drop. And then it gave us another no net. GJ is another pair that I am not really trading right now. Right, GJ, I'm not even going to update it just yet till pretty much New Year. We're sitting at peak high. We're at a higher high. Yeah, GJ, I'm not going to update this just yet. I'm going to wait till the New Year. GU, we had higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So we're trading between these highs up here and these higher lows over here. We have a day of no net. We have a day of rise, 2 days of rise. Then we have a day of no net. And we have 2 days of no net. 2 days where price has been moving sideways. Three weeks of rise. After 3 weeks of rise, the market must move sideways or go down, and we move sideways. And then for this week, price went up. And on the daily time frame, once again, we're trading in level 2 on an uptrend, waiting to see if price wants to give us a steeper pullback or if we want to start the continuations back to the top side. Very similar to what EURUSD is doing. NZD/USD, we are in A2, second zone consolidation, looking for that third and final push back down to the bottom. Nothing to update on the daily. On the 4 hour, we had higher high, higher low. Price still hasn't given us a valid break of these highs just yet, so we're going to keep it like this for now. No continuations on the 4 hour time frame. And then on the 30-minute time frame, we had a change of character, higher high, then price gave us higher high, higher low, higher high, and gave us a change of character, lower low. On the 30, we're trading between these lows and these highs, where we had 2 days of rise, then we have a day of no net, and then we have 2 days of no net. US30, another pair that I'm not trading. What is this? I did a little class on Friday. Let me delete some of these things real quick. US30, I'm gonna wait till the week starts to update that chart. We'll do that tomorrow night. USDCAD ZAR, and then the last one we'll do is gonna be gold for today, team. Right, and gold is in a very similar situation, right? Gold, we're at peak high territories. We made new highs. Right, on the daily time frame, we're now trading between this higher low over here. Right, and whatever higher highs are set on the 4 hour time frame, very similar to the daily time frame, the exact same structure on the daily and the 4 hour time frame. Get higher high, higher low. We have a week of rise, then we had 2 weeks of rise, then price gave us 3 weeks of rise, and then on the 30-minute time frame, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And we're trading between these higher lows here. And the higher highs from up here. We still have this gap at the bottom of the market as well, so that'll be interesting. Gold is going to be an interesting pair to keep an eye on for the next couple days, next couple weeks as well. We have a gap here, then we have a gap here as well, so we got to keep an eye on that. But that's pretty much it, team. All the other pairs, we're going to go ahead and mark those up when the week starts. Any questions, let me know. Any other pairs you guys want me to go over, anything else you guys want me to explain, let me know. If not, that's it for today, guys. And again, I hope you guys have a good rest of your 2025. I hope everyone has a good start to the new year. We'll be back tomorrow again. Monday we'll be trading, the 29th. The 30th we'll be trading as well, which is Tuesday. The 31st and the 1st right? Wednesday and Thursday, obviously, we'll let the markets do what they got to do going into the new year, going into the holidays. And then we'll be back next week, pretty much. I'll be back home on the 5th. Um, and then once I'm back home on the 5th, we'll be back in business. We'll do the one-on-one sessions again. We'll do the trading sessions again. We'll do the weekly market breakdowns, the isolation sessions. And then we'll go on from there, guys. Check your DMs. I got you. Still struggling with EURCAD. Again, I don't just mark up the exact same thing I have, Albert. 30-minute time frame. Yeah, you can see where I have the lines from starting up here, right? You have higher high, lower low, higher high, lower low, right? Then price did what? Price never broke these highs. Price broke these lows here, right? Then price gave you lower low, right? Price broke from here to here, gave you lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So you're trading between here and here, right? Price again gave you lower low, higher high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Let me know if that made sense, Albert. It didn't give you a valid break. No, it gave you an inducement. You still counted though on the 30-minute time frame. Instead of saying that this is just a break here, right? You still would count it. When you're looking at structure, you're still counting the inducements, right? Because it's where price turned around, right? After the inducement, again, this is where that lower time frame comes into handy to start taking those trades back to the top side. But when you're looking at it on the 30-minute time frame, the only time frame you wouldn't count market structure where it's just an inducement is the 4-hour and the daily time frame. So for example, on the date, this is the break of structure line. On the daily time frame and the 4-hour time frame, 100% you wouldn't mark this as lower low, lower high, lower low. On the 30-minute, on the 5-minute, on the 1-minute, on the 1-hour, even though it's still an inducement, even though it's not a valid break, you still mark it up with the structure. The only time frames you don't mark it up as a structure without a valid break is the 4-hour time frame or the daily time frame. But on the 30-minute, the 1-hour, the 15, the 5, the 1-minute, even if you have an inducement, you still mark it up as market structure, lower low, lower high, lower low. So again, even though price never gave you a BOS of the previous highs or the previous lows, on the 30-minute, you still mark it up. The only time frame where you don't mark it up, if it doesn't give you a valid break, is on the 4-hour and the daily time frame. Make sure you write that down. That's very important. The daily and the 4-hour, if it doesn't give you a valid break, you don't mark it up. It's just part of the same structure. On the 30-minute or on the 1-hour or less, even if you have an inducement, even if it don't get a valid break, you still mark it up on those time frames. But you don't mark it up on the daily or the 4-hour.
changed a lot of things for me. And Albert, it's nothing new, man. That's why I always say, make sure you guys write notes. I'm sure we could go back to any session, and I say that all the time. The daily and the 4-hour time frame is the only time frames where if you have an inducement, if you don't have a valid break, you don't mark it up as structure. But again, on the 30 minute, the 15, the 5, the 1 minute, the inducement, you still mark it up as structure. Again, do not confuse that with when you're looking for an entry. When you're looking for an entry, yes, you need to wait for a valid break. Right? Again, don't confuse entry strategies with market structure. It's two different things. When you're looking for market structure, on the 30 minutes specifically, when you're looking at market structure, the inducement, you still mark it up. Now, when you're on the 30 minute and you're looking for an entry on the 30 minute, if you do not have a valid break, you cannot look for the entry. You need to wait for the valid break. That's why I always say, I've always said this, tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. The entry strategies, the way you look at your charts when you're looking for your entry strategies is a little bit different. There's a little bit of a difference when you're looking at market structure compared to when you're looking for your entry strategy. When you're looking to take the entry. So don't confuse the two. Again, this is specifically, we're talking about market structure. So don't confuse the two. That's why I've always said this is the beginning of the year, and I know you've been here for what, about 2 years now, Albert? You're about to be 3 years now. It's very important to show up all the time and continue to take notes and continue to mark up your charts and continue to just do it every single day. There's so much detail to where if you're in for 2-3 months and then you take a couple months off and you come back, there's gonna be things that you forgot, or there's gonna be things that you missed. And you're gonna go crazy trying to figure out what's what and what's not. That's why I say it's very important to make sure you have this written down, and you just need to make sure that no matter what's going on, you need to show up and do your charts every single day. Every single day. And there's so many small details that you need to make sure that you know, because it's gonna elevate your trading. And again, I'm going to be honest. There's only one person. We have the thing about Albert, we have 150 people in our group. 150 people. Out of the 150 people, and we could see it from the beginning of the year up until now. In the beginning of the year, we had 60, 70 people who were messaging me almost daily. I was doing one-on-one sessions for the first 4 or 5 months of the year, almost every single day. After that, it went from 60 to 70 people to 10 people. You, Muhammad, Jessica, Adrian, Kendall, Booba. Am I missing anybody else? I think that's it. I think for the entire year, from January up until now, there's only been 6 people who've actually been at it for, let's say, in a consistent basis, where out of the 12 months out of the year, let's say you guys did something for 7 months, has been you, Jessica, and Brian. I forgot Brian. You, Jessica, and Brian, right? Because you took some months off this year, right? You're here for the majority of it, but again, I'm just saying, like, for the timing of it, right? Jessica was good for about 4 or 5 months, 6 months, and I haven't seen her again, right? She'll hop in every now and then. Brian, same exact thing. The only person, and is the reason you see it in the chat, the only person who's been doing it every single day this year, and maybe has less than a week where he didn't show up, is Kendall. And that's the reason you see Kendall this year. He quit his job. Kendall's already taking trades on a live account. Kendall's already making money. And 2025 was his first full year with us. And I would say Muhammad is the other one, but Muhammad already has 2-3 years as well. Muhammad was really good for the first 2 years, and then this year, you know, he had school. He had a lot of things this year that he wanted to focus on. But Muhammad is another one. He passed his phase 1, his phase 2, and he got a live account. And he's taking trades and he's making money already. So again, it's a lot of information. It's so much information. And it's not only about how we do it, trading in general. Right? Trading in general, it doesn't matter what course you take, it doesn't matter who you learn from at the end of the day. If you're not consistent with it, it's going to be very difficult to not only trade, but to be able to understand the reasons why things are happening or why things aren't happening, or why this happened and why this didn't happen. Again, that's why I always say, every time we do these sessions, the reason they're recorded and the reason they're posted as soon as the streams are over is so you guys could go back, take the notes, go to your charts, back test it. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Right? And that's one thing that in 2026, I'm going to start being a lot more blunt with people. Like, this isn't something, trading isn't something that you're just going to be, oh, he's doing the session, let's go watch him for an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then after we're done with the sessions, that's it, we'll just be back tomorrow. If you aren't writing notes, if you aren't going to your charts and applying what we just talked about on your charts, if you're not updating your charts and making sure that everything looks exactly the same, if I tell you to open up your charts and they don't look exactly the same as mine, there's something wrong. And you know who taught me that? E. Again, I learned from E. Everything I'm telling you guys is the exact same thing that E used to tell us all the time when he was the one doing the sessions. If your charts do not look identical to mine, you're doing something wrong. And you're making it harder for yourself to learn. Because then, our streams are here. Just copy and paste it. If something doesn't make sense, copy and paste it, and then ask us the question. It's the exact same thing you're doing now. You're not doing nothing wrong. Right? The exact same thing you're doing now. Yo, your chart looks a little bit different than mine. Can you go over it? Can you explain it? Right? And you see how with the questions that you're asking, now it clears up any other confusion that you have. Right? You just learned something new today. Oh, okay, cool. So even if we have an inducement when we're looking at structure on the 30-minute, we still mark it up as a structure. But that only applies on the time frames lower than the 1 hour time frame. But on the 4 hour and the daily, if you have an inducement, you do not mark it up as structure on the daily or the 4 hour. It's just an inducement. It's part of the trend. Right? But that's something that, again, I say that almost every stream I say that in, because it happens. Right? How many 4 hour and daily time frame charts do you see that just have a wick or just have an inducement and we don't mark it? And we say, oh, we're going to wait for the valid break or we're going to wait for the reversal on the daily or the 4 hour. We say that almost every stream because, again, there's a handful of pairs that are doing that on the daily or the 4 hour time frame. But on the 30-minute, you mark it up just a little bit differently. Right? On the 30-minute, that rule doesn't apply on the 30-minute. Again, the only time that applies on the 30-minute time frame is when you're looking for the entry strategy. But that's completely different than what we're doing today. That's a completely different rule set. That's a completely different thing to look at, and why is the entry strategy. Again, market structure, completely different. That's why I always say make sure you do not confuse your entry strategy rules with market structure. They're two completely different things. They might look the same, but they're not the same at all. But that's pretty much it. Again, any questions? We'll give everybody another minute in the chat. If no other questions, we'll be done for the day and we'll be back again tomorrow morning for the live trading session, team.
Which entry strategy do you want to go over? Again, there's multiple. You know, we could go over the inducement, we could go over the engulfing candle, we could go over the EMAs. Which one is specific do you want to? And I'm gonna be honest, I don't even want to do that in this session, but I'll do it for you. But there again, there's so many entry strategies. There's so many entry rules that we could use. But which one in specific do you want to go over? Because we could go over, you know, I could go back to my chart real quick and we could go over any entry in specific that we have here from any of the previous trades that we took this year. Right? Like, for example, I shouldn't even do it on US30 because that's a very bad pair to give the examples, and it's a very big pair. I wouldn't do US30. Let me open up my trading journal. Let's go to GA. I think GA was one of the last pairs that I took. This one is not. What the fuck did I just open? My bad. Give me a minute. 22. I opened up the wrong journal. Let's go to GJ. GJ was in October 21st. Right, so I'll give you the example on GJ. Right, which is a good example. Right, we had lower low, lower high, lower low inducement. Right, after we had the inducement, you could see that we went down into the 1 minute and the 5 minute time frame. Right, because price never gave us a valid break, it was just an inducement. Then we had the 5 minute, you know, the 1 minute, the 5 minute, where we had the 5 minute change of character, higher high, higher low, and then we had the 5 minute break of structure, higher high, higher low. Right, after this higher low was set, what happened? Price gave you an inducement, and then what happened? On the 1 minute time frame, you had the change of character, higher high, higher low. You had the break of structure, higher high, higher low, the retest, and that was the entry on the 1 minute time frame. But you see how what I was talking about? Like, why was I using this internal, right? On the 5 minute and the 1 minute, why was I looking at this as higher high, higher lows on the internal? Is because we had the 30 minute inducement candle. And I can't, the reason I don't go to the 5 minute is because I can't go back to October since I don't pay for TradingView. Right? But after we had the inducement, that's when I started marking up the 1 minute and the 5 minute on the internal time frame. And you can see it. Again, we had lower low, lower high, lower low, boom, higher high change of character on the 5 minute time frame, higher low. Then price gave you the higher high break of structure, higher low. Right? Price gave you the trend, pullback, higher high, higher low, and on the retest of the higher low, what did price do? It just gave you the inducements of these lows, right? Which again, if we go down to the 1 minute, you'll see that where price gave you an inducement, and then we started making higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? Higher high, higher low, right? This is where we had the change of character, the break of structure, the retest, to then continue. You're looking for price to bounce off the 50 EMA on the 30 minute time frame, you had to bounce off the 50 EMA. You want to see the 50 cross above the 200, you had the 50 cross above the 200 with the retest, straight into STP for the day. And again, you have my trading journal. Oh man.
Oh man. My God. Man, you have my trading journal. I'm gonna share it to you. You know, in your own time, go back and go look at every trade that we took. Go over it a bit slow. Now I'll do it here so it makes more sense. Again, I can't. It kind of sucks because the last trades that I've taken have been pretty much in October, September. I haven't traded really that much in the last 2 months, so I can't really go into the 5 minute time frame. I can't go into the 5 minute or the 1 minute to really show you the most details. So I'll do it here on the 30 minute. I'll give you as much information as possible. Right. So again, on the 30 minute, you had higher high, higher low, higher high. Then price gave you a change of character, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Then price gave you an inducement, lower low. After price gave us the inducement of the lower low, we know that price is on the 800 EMA. We know that price respects the 800 EMA. This is where I went down into the 1 minute and the 5 minute time frame. Right? And after the inducement, this is where we started seeing, okay, cool. On the 5 minute time frame, what happened? We had lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, change of character, higher low. Then we had higher high, break of structure, and this is where price gave us the higher low. Right? After price gave us this higher low here, price came up, gave us a little high, and then price came down here with this wick, right? It gave us an inducement of these lows down here. So this is where now the 1 minute came into play. We're on the 1 minute time frame. What do we start seeing? Right? If you go down to the lower time frame, right, these candlesticks here, right, we had lower low, lower high, lower low, change of character, higher high, higher low, break of structure, higher high, higher low. We had the break above this zone here, which was a 5 minute zone of consolidation, right? And then you had higher high, higher low, the retest, to then continue back to the top side. Again, I wish that I was able to go back onto the 5 minute time frame on this chart, but I can't. But I hope that made sense. Like the exact same thing that we just talked about with the inducement of the low and when to switch down to the 1 minute and the 5 minute and when to look for higher high, higher low on the internal time frame. This is the exact same, that same entry that you wanted to see on that pair that you showed me on EURCAD. This is that exact same entry that was there. The only difference was that this pair gave you the inducement, and that inducement gave you the confirmation to go down into the lower time frame, to then look for those internal moves and for those internal entries to continue that push back to the top side. In comparison to the other trade, or to the other pair that we were looking at, it never gave you the inducement, which is why the internal time frame never gave you those entries. Or it didn't give you a solid entry, I should say. And I would rather do it here on the stream with you, Albert, so you have it recorded and you could go back and review it over and over again until it clicks. I think I might have to get one more session with you before I buy the prop account. No problem, Albert. Just let me know. Again, I'll be back for the one-on-one sessions after January 5th. So if you want to schedule a one-on-one for possibly the weekend, after the 5th. What day is the 5th? Let me see. Just DM me on Discord and we'll set up a day that works best for you on. Yeah, if you want to set it up for like the 9th or the 10th or the 11th of January, that would be the best time to do it. And then again, January, you know, the first couple months of the year for us, you know, specifically me and E, it's the worst. Because January is my mom's birthday and I'm coming back to Miami. Her birthday is at the end of January, January 31st. February is my sister's birthday. March is my birthday and E's birthday. You know, April, May, June is good. I don't have anything to do on those months. July, I might be back in Miami for a few more days as well. You know, the beginning of July is Independence Day here, and it's my brother's birthday too. Then like mid to the ending of July, I might be in Miami again for a little bit. But you know, that's already 7 months into the year. But the first 2-3 months of the year, you know, it's gonna be a little bit. Schedule's gonna be a little on and off for the first 3 months of the year, January through March, pretty much, because of everybody's birthdays are coming up. So, but yeah, just hit me up, Albert. Send me a DM. Again, any time after the 5th, specifically again that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you want to set up a one-on-one session, we could do that. No problem. But alright, team. Appreciate everybody who tuned in. Any questions, let me know. You really have a great family memory of birthdays, man. I remember I'm really good with birthdays. Like especially the people that I like. Obviously, the people that I know, people that I care about, people that I talk to on a regular basis. I'm really good with remembering birthdays. And then E comes to town too. Like that's another thing. Like I just remembered. Like what days did I just say? E comes to town. He flies to. He's gonna be staying at my house on the 14th. I think it is that he flies in January 14th. So yeah, that pretty much that weekend that I just told you, the 9th, the 10th, and the 11th. That's pretty much gonna be. The first week of January is gonna be. Is gonna be the best time to do any one-on-one sessions or anything like that. Cause once E comes into town, you already know. You guys saw it every time E came over to the house. Every time he flew into town this year, it was we can't get work done, and we still gotta fucking finish the course, and I don't know if we're gonna even have time to do that. Like, there's just so much that we have to do. There's so much that we have to record, and there's so much that we have to plan. There's really not enough time, and it's only us. So it's gonna be a little bit crazy, but again, it's for 2026. I want to set up, you know, I want to make sure that I have the mentorship and the courses and everything set up for everybody. Again, the good thing is either way, we've been streaming for free on YouTube for the last 3-4 years. We have, if you go to our channel and you go to the live session tab, we have over 300-400 videos of the weekly market breakdowns, which is the ones that we do, you know, today on the weekends. We have the isolation sessions that we do Monday through Thursday, and then we have the live trading sessions that we do Monday through Friday. So we have over 300, over 400 videos of just the same process, and you guys see it. It's the same thing every single day. There's nothing new. So ours is just texting wishes and it's over. Yeah, no, that is, you know, for my family, it's always been a thing to kind of be together on holidays. For the most, you know, I'm talking more like immediate family members. You know what I mean? Like your parents, your siblings. But you know, I'll have my family members that's not immediate family members or people who don't live in the States with us. That is just a text or is a phone call, FaceTime call, or whatever. But when it's immediate family members, people that you're really close to, I like to keep that a little bit more personal. You know, I like to fly into town, like pretty much like how I did for now for Christmas and New Year's. Like, drove 4 hours to come to Miami to spend the holidays with my parents. You know, spend the holidays with my girl here. So it's dope to be able to do that. How do I get into one of the memberships? What's good, Emmanuel? I'll put the link for our Discord in the chat for you. Right now, I don't have for this year, you know, we had the pricing and everything for the mentorship. You know, the mentorship is, it gives you access to personalized one-on-one sessions. You know, if you're a beginner trader, you haven't traded before, you know, we start fresh, so you're gonna learn exactly what it is that you need to learn. If you already have experience trading, did I copy it? My bad. God damn it. If you already have experience trading and you just wanna understand what it is that you're looking at, or you know, try to see what mistakes it is that you do. I'm very fluent in trading. Again, in my trading journal, Emmanuel, just so you have some information about myself. um I did a lot to kind of learn a lot of different strategies in the market, to be able to learn, or to be able to teach everybody and understand everybody's standpoint in trading, because I'm one of those traders that will tell you there is no wrong way to trade. Right? Like if you trade ICT, if you trade turtle soup, if you trade order blocks, if you trade Fibonacci sequences, Fibonacci retracements, if you trade trend lines, I believe that every strategy in the market works. Right? However, once again, all of those things that I just said, ICT, order blocks, Fib retracements, you know, EMAs, if you use EMAs, trend lines, those are all entry strategies. And that's what I was explaining to Albert a little bit ago on this stream, Emmanuel. If you want to go back and you want to rewatch this, and again, I recommend everybody to always rewatch any of the sessions that we have. There's a huge difference between entry strategies, right? Which again, entry strategies could be engulfing candles, head and shoulder patterns, order blocks, ICT methods, right? All of those things are entry strategies. But the one thing that a lot of people do not teach, and a lot of things that people don't know how to look at, is market structure. Right? So what I try to do is, like, for example, Emmanuel, if you hit me up and you're like, hey, I'm trading ICT, right? What I try to do, I don't try to tell you, oh no, that's wrong, you shouldn't trade ICT. No. What I try to do on my one-on-one sessions, again, they're all personalized to everybody individually. If you want to continue to learn ICT, then perfect, right? You'll learn ICT the way that you want to learn ICT, but what I will teach you, in order for you to trade ICT effectively, or in order for you to trade order blocks effectively, or in order for you to learn or to trade break and retest like what Roger Banks does with zones and consolidations, I try to teach you the market structure. Like, okay, why is it that, I'll give you the example, right? If you still have a 40%, 50% win rate, right? Why is it that you're winning 50% of the trades and you're losing 50% of your trades? It's not because the market is a 50-50 gamble, because we know that's not true. And everybody says that. The market isn't a gamble, right? But if you're taking, and I'll give you an example, a very simple example, Emmanuel. If you're taking a double top, which a double top is an M formation, which we all know as traders, a double top is a downtrend formation, right? A downtrend for shorts. If you take a double top entry when in market structure price is still giving you higher highs and higher lows, you know that you're going to lose that trade. Or if you know that you have an order block at the top of the charts, right, and that order block is for a short position, but price is still making higher highs and higher lows, you know that that trade isn't going to work. So that's what I try to teach everybody, right? Where it's like, again, your entry strategies, yes, even though you have an order block, that order block may not be a high probability order block to place a trade in, because that order block that you see that's for a short position is still market structure is still making higher highs or higher lows, or vice versa. If you have an order block that's a long position order block, but market structure is still making lower lows and lower highs, how are you taking a long position when market structure is still making lower lows and lower highs? Right? I hope that made sense, Emmanuel. Here was goody Kendall. I was just talking about you, man. You missed us by a few minutes. I'm already done for the day. But I was just talking about you. I was just saying how you're the only one out of the 150 people that we have in the Discord, right? Out of the 60 people that we had at the beginning of the year that was with us, you know, doing one-on-one sessions,
you were the only one this year who did it every single day. You're the only one that was able to quit your job, start trading, and start making money. You were the only one, right? I want to use Muhammad too, but Muhammad wasn't really active this year, but that's because he had work and he had school and he's still, he's in graduation. So I understand his part, but he did pass his phase 1 and his phase 2 of his funded, and he's making money already too. So, I'll put Muhammad on the same pedestal as you, Kendall. But I was just explaining that to Albert, like, there's a lot of information, and you'll hear it, and I'm sure that I'll go back and watch it. I'm sure that once you get to the part to where I talked about that, I want you to put your input in the Discord chat as well, because we talked a lot about there's a lot of rules and there's a lot of details that you need to pay attention to in order for you to really understand everything to its full extent. Right? The difference between the entry strategies and market structure, even though they look the same, they're not the same. You have to treat them both completely differently. But yeah, Emmanuel, if you're still here, my brother, I put the link for our Discord. Our Discord is completely free to join. Again, for 2026, I do want to change up the program a little bit. 2026, I'm gonna go hard with everybody in the streams. The mentorship, for the one-on-ones, obviously those I'm gonna have to charge for. But even if you don't want to pay for a mentorship, we're still gonna do free YouTube sessions. If you want to request a one-on-one session, for the people who aren't paying for the subscription or aren't paying for the mentorship, we could do one we could do 1 to 3 sessions a month of one-on-one sessions to make sure that you're really understanding it. But for 2026, I am gonna have to start charging, because that's something that in 2025 I said I was gonna start doing it, and I did it for the most part for some people. But again, I also understand that not everybody could afford it. So I don't want to be that trader. And again, I don't do this for the money. We've been doing this for free on YouTube for the past 4 years now. I don't need the money for the mentorships. I really don't. But it's a lot of time, right? And again, imagine we have 150 students, 150 students who want to do one-on-one sessions, an hour each. That's a lot of time. There's not enough days on the month to be able to do that with everybody, right? On top of the fact that, again, I have my businesses, I trade, obviously, I still do my trading sessions, so there's just not enough time. So 2026, I'm definitely gonna start charging. If for any reason anybody has any problems that are like, hey, I can't afford this, can you help me out? If you're somebody who wants to take it serious, I will work with you. If I need to give you a discount, right, the same way it is in school, at least here in the States, right? If you're a good student, you get FAFSA, which is a program where they help you pay for your tuition, right? I'm gonna do it the same way. If I'll give you an example. If I'm charging $150, $120 a month, and you can't afford $120 a month, but you could tell me that you could afford $50, $35, then okay, cool. I'll charge you 35, I'll charge you $50, and then we'll get to work. But understand that the students who are going through that program is going to be the exact same way that it is in school. If I see that you're not taking it seriously, if I see that you're just wasting my time, if I see that you're not active, then your subscription is going to be canceled, and I'm just going to tell you to do it for free and just watch whatever sessions it is that we do on YouTube for free. Because again, this year alone, there were so many people and there were so many sessions that people would hit me up like, hey, let's do a one-on-one session. And then the day of the session, they cancel, or they never hit me up to cancel, or they never confirm. And I have to clear my schedule for you, right? I have to stop doing what I'm doing to be able to make sure that I'm there to give you guys the session. And at the end of the day, time is money. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account, time is money. I can't be, the first 6 months, 7 months of the year, and Kendall knows this. Kendall have been with me fucking all day, every day he was on my hip for 7 months. Until he said, yo, I gotta go solo dolo for a little bit, which there's nothing wrong with that. But Kendall could tell you guys.
Kendall could be the #1 person to tell you, yo, how many times did I tell you I have a fucking one-on-one session this year? And people just never show up. And it's just a whole day wasted. I'm not doing shit because I just cleared my schedule to do one-on-one sessions that nobody shows up for. Right? So it's cool. If you're paying me to waste my time, then I have no problem doing that. But if you're wasting my time for free, that's, that hurts. That, for me it hurts. Cuz I'm putting what I have to do, my responsibilities, I'm putting them aside to help you guys. And again, we've been doing this for free for the last 4 years. Any information you need, go look for it. I'm going to start being one of those mentors. You need information, go look for it on the YouTube channel. We have hundreds of live trading sessions. We have hundreds of isolation sessions. We have hundreds of weekly market breakdowns. Go look for it. Go watch every single YouTube video and go take notes. But wasting their own money and your time, yeah. So, 2026 is going to be a little bit different. Again, I'm still going to be available for you guys. I don't want this to be one of those things where you think that I'm not going to be available. No, I'm available for you guys at all times. But you guys need to show me that you want to do it. Because if not, I have no problem marking my charts by myself. Again, it takes me... We've been on this session for 2 hours and 20 minutes. Just think about it. I don't need to take 2 hours out of my day to do this session. I don't need to take 2 hours of my day to mark up my charts. It takes me 15 minutes max. I look at 16 different charts on a day-to-day basis. It takes me a minute, 2 minutes to update my charts and go on to the next one. But again, I enjoy doing these sessions. I enjoy helping you guys, especially because I see how much it is actually helping you guys. Again, Muhammad has been with us and he's already a funded trader. Kendall has been with us and he's already a fucking funded trader. Right? Well, technically trading his live account. So, there's a lot of people we could talk about. There's a lot of people that we could bring into the picture to be like, oh my God, like, look at what they did for the first year, 2 years that they've been with us, and look at where they're at now. So, and these are people who are still students. These are people who still work a regular 9-to-5 job. These are people who still have families, right? They have kids. These are people who still have a regular life, right? And at the end of the day, we all live the same life. We all go to school. We all went to school. We all have a job, right? I don't know one person that isn't living that life, especially if you're an adult with responsibilities. You know what I mean? So, but again, guys, that's pretty much it for me today. Any other questions? I'll give you guys another minute in the chat. Any questions, any other pairs you guys want me to go over, anything you guys want me to explain, anything you guys want me to go over, let me know. If not, that'll be it for today, and we'll be back again tomorrow morning for the live trading session. We'll be live. Again, I'll let you guys know in the Discord early on how the markets are looking. If there's anything good, then we'll be live and we'll do what we gotta do. If not, then, we'll try to do the same thing on Tuesday. And then pretty much after Tuesday, that's going to be pretty much the last session up until next week, up until January 5th. And then January 5th, we'll be back on the charts for the rest of 2026. So, seems like you guys are good in the chat. No other questions. Give you guys a few more seconds. Anything at all, guys, let me know. If I see an inducement of the lower highs for a change of character, do you consider that as a change? Just for the 1 hour 30 and lower time frames? Yes. Yep. If you have an inducement of the higher the low and it's a change of character, you would consider that a change of character. But again, that's only for, like what you just said, that's only for the 1 hour, the 30-minute, the 5-minute, the 15-minute, and the 1-minute time frame. But if you see an inducement of the highs or the lows on the 4 hour or the daily time frame, then that's not a change of character, that's not a break of structure, that's just part of the same structure. In order for a change of character or for a break of structure to be valid on a daily or the 4 hour, it needs to be for the so this is where the other one. So for a change of character on the daily or the 4 hour, it has to be a candle closure above. It can't just be a wick. If it's just a wick, it's nothing. But if on the daily and the 4 hour it's a candle closure, if the candle closes above the line, then you would consider that the change of character on the daily or the 4 hour. But if it's just a wick, then it's not considered a change of character. And then obviously the break of structure, you need to see that second green candle to the highs that gives you the valid break, or that second red candle to the lows that gives you that valid break. If not, it's just still an inducement and it's part of the same trend. Have a good one, brother. Thank you, Mr. Kendall. I appreciate it, my brother. Alright, guys, any other questions? Just hit me up on Discord and we'll be back again tomorrow. I'll see you guys later. Peace out. My bad, Albert. So for the higher time frame, it's a wick and a candle closure above or below. So for the higher time frame, it's a wick and a candle closure above. Yeah, it's a candle closure. Again, for the higher time frame, the change of character is with the candle closure above or below for the change of character. If the higher time frame is just a wick, then there's nothing. For the lower time frames, if you have a wick or if you have the candle closure, then it's a change of character. Again, the higher time frame is just the candle closure. The candle closure is what you want to see for that change of character. If you don't have that candle closure above for the change of character on the higher time frame, then it's just part of the same trend. It's not a change of character. But alright, guys. Albert, any other questions, my brother? Feel free to just message me on Discord, and I got you, man. Hope everyone has a good rest of their day, and again, if for the ones that I don't speak to again, hope you guys have a great rest of your 2025. Stay safe for those who go out and party. Even when the wick is touching the line, correct. Even if the wick is touching the line on the higher time frame, if the wick is touching the line, it's still part of the same trend. You wouldn't mark that on the higher time frame as a change of character.